Alright, it's time to talk about Emilie, her kit. I'll explain in simple terms what she does, the meat and potatoes of her whole kit, as well as some different build and team comps because although she's being labeled as niche, she's not as niche as people think. And she's going to be quite good, her damage is really high, and she's going to be incredibly versatile, so let's break it all down. Let's start with the basics. What does she do exactly? Well, she's an off-field sub-DPS that scales off of attack, but you're going to want to invest some dendro damage and some crit stats as well. Essentially, her regular attacks don't do a thing, so just ignore them unless you just like the aesthetic of it and want to use it. Her skill is going to be her main bread and butter. That's going to want to cause burning reactions. And her burst that has a 500 energy cost is going to amplify her skill. So her skill is going to be her main shtick. Causing burning reactions is the way to go here. But does that mean she's limited to just burning teams with just Pyro and Dendro? No. Her skill has a 22-second uptime. That's a lot of Dendro. And the more burning you're causing, the more Dendro you can apply. And the cooldown is only 14 seconds, so you can have 100% uptime on her skill. And her burst just amplifies her skill. Essentially how it works is when you're causing burning reactions, you level up your skill and your talent. The more burning you cause, the better. But the big misconception is that she's like Nilou, where she actually buffs burning reaction. That's not true. She does not buff the reaction. Rather, the reaction buffs her. Her Dendro off-field damage is what gets buffed when you cause burning. Ironically, when you cause aggravate, it actually weakens her. So they actually added this kryptonite where if you mix her with Electro, it actually weakens the crap out of her. I don't know why they did that or felt the need. If this was the year 2021, people would be in an outrage. Those of you that remember Kokomi's debut with her negative crit rate. But the game's evolved since then. Niche characters are treated less harshly. Still though, her Dendro damage is pretty damn high. She won't be as versatile as someone like Nahida, but the niche teams that she is good in, she's going to be damn good. Obviously Nahida's a tough act to follow, but one advantage she actually has is her Dendro application is really high off field, but you don't have to keep reapplying it like Nahida. When you kill an enemy, you have to switch back to Nahida, which could screw up your rotation. But with Emilie, you don't have to do this. Also, even if she's not good with Electro, her Dendro application is still going to be very high regardless, whether you're able to utilize her max potential or not. And her raw Dendro damage will be higher than Nahida's, just from what we have to go off of. Also, it should be noted that usually in a burning team, you take damage yourself just being around that reaction, but she actually reduces your damage taken by burning side effect by 85%. All party members get 85% damage resistance against pyro and burning damage. Her percentages and numbers are going to change throughout the beta, so I'm not going to overanalyze that, but in short, she's an off-field sub-DPS that caters to her skill, and she's going to scale off attack, crit percentages, and Dendro damage. And she even has a crit damage ascension stat, so going for crit rate in one of your artifacts might be the way to go to help balance this. She also only requires 50 energy for her burst, so having a battery or really needing to cater to energy recharge is going to be a non-issue. Now, as for builds, it's really not that complicated. There's two main artifact sets you're going to want to consider. Obviously, her best in slot's going to be the new one that was released in 4.6. Unfinished Revier, I'm probably butchering that. The Deepwood set will be another option. You could go for something that just has attack percentage as well, and something that buffs her skill, but honestly she is going to do damage through her burst as well, so honestly I'd stick with these two sets if I'm being honest. But her best in slot will be the new one, definitely catered towards her. The 2-piece set gives you an attack percentage buff, and the 4-piece set buffs her off-field damage as well as burning. For every burning opponent on the field that you're fighting, you get 10% damage buff up to 50%. And this effect will still trigger when you're off the field. So obviously her being an off-field damage dealer means that you're going to be causing a lot of burning while off-field. You'll be collecting that damage buffers as well as her own amplifier, so she's going to accumulate damage quite fast. Again, she's not buffing the burning reaction, but rather, the burning reaction's buffing her, but it has to be the burning reaction that buffs her. As for weapons, the 4-star options I'd personally go with are the Deathmatch and the Black Cliff, crit rate and crit damage being essential. I wouldn't really focus on Elemental Mastery too much as she mainly focuses on attack percentage, but anything with a high attack percent will do. Personally, the one I'm looking forward to using with her is the Jade Spear, Zhao's signature weapon, because it has crit rate, which she is lacking, and it has a pretty high attack percentage. I also have the Calamity Queller, which is Shenhe's signature weapon with insanely high attack percentage. That one I'm also going to try on her. But if you have Staphahoma, that's another great option, and of course her signature weapon's going to be her best in slot, no surprise there. But in my honest opinion, I don't think it's worth spending maybe $100 to get, because there's a lot of great 4-star options as well. I think you'll be just as well with the Deathmatch that has crit rate as well, or the Black Pull if you're looking for a 4-star option. And I'll just say this now, just looking at her kit, I don't think it's necessary to pull Constellations at all. Now, as for her team comps, this is interesting because, like I said earlier in the video, she's a lot more versatile than we realize. Right off the bat, a mostly Pyro team with her included would be really good. So anyone like Hu Tao, Arlecchino, Lenny that benefits from actually having more Pyro units in your team. So mono Pyro variations with her mixed in will be very, very good. Or having a dual Dendro Pyro team of some variation. Her skill is going to be a widespread area similar to Dia's, so it's not going to be hard to have enemies within that radius. It's not going to be a small circle like Bennett's by any means. But what I'm personally excited about is the Melt teams, because I am a big fan of Melt, and I feel like it's been just kind of brushed to the side for a while. I have Ganyu, that's my most invested character at the moment, and I really love this reaction, so anyone that uses Ganyu, Wriothesley, Charlotte, or any other cryo units, there are going to be a lot of good melt comps you can mix and match with this character. Because you need burning, you're going to be able to cause a lot of melt as well. And because you need to cause the burning reaction before you can cause the melt reaction, I think it's going to go very smoothly. I think these team comps are going to be very strong, and this will also free up your Nahida or other Dendro character for other side of the Abyss if you need them for your Hyper Bloom or other team comps. I also think there's going to be a lot of good Burgeon teams as well that you can use her on. Again, it might not be her most optimal, but I do think she's going to be really strong on those teams as well, because you are causing burning reactions and Burgeon reactions as well. Burgeon being a strong reaction. Personally, I'm excited to try this team comp where I can put her with Dia, cause the burning reaction, swap into my Hydro character, and then maybe use Kazuha or someone to blend it all together. The only thing that really sucks about this character is they made her really specifically not work with Electro for some reason, but I just pulled Cloran, and you can bet that I'm going to force these two characters to work together, even if they're not meant to, because I can. I'm not recommending it though. This is just for fun purposes. We also can't forget about the Pyro Nation that's about to drop in a couple months. And there's going to be a lot of insanely good Pyro units coming out of that nation, including the Pyro Archon. So Emilie is only going to get stronger with more Pyro units included. To summarize, I think she's going to be a lot better than people are giving her credit for, and she's going to be a little bit more versatile than people realize as well. She's not going to be nearly as niche as Nilou was, but there's also a lot of good characters to pull in this game, so really consider if she's somebody that you're going to enjoy using before you pull her. If you really like the Melt team comps, if you have Wriothesley or Ganyu, or a cryo unit you use a lot, if you like the burning reaction like I do, I personally really do like that reaction, and I've been waiting for something like this, so I wasn't planning on pulling for her, but now I am. But now I definitely am. These are all things to consider. Take the leaks with a grain of salt, because her numbers and percentages will change before she's released. And with that said, I hope this was helpful, hope you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, and as always, we will see you all in the next one. Later.